You've probably heard the story about anxiety, right? That it's just our ancient fight-or-flight response going a little haywire in the modern world. But what if I told you that's not even close to the whole picture? Okay, let's dive into this, because the real story is way more fascinating, and it reveals something incredible about your brain, its power to predict the future.
You know that feeling, the sudden knot in your stomach. Your heart starts pounding, and your mind is just racing with all the things that might happen. That's the classic signature of anxiety. And today, we're going to pop the hood and see what's really going on in the engine.
All right, so before we get to the new, mind-blowing stuff, we have to talk about the old story. This is the classic explanation, the one we all probably learned back in health class.
The core idea is pretty simple, right? Our brain has this built-in alarm system, and when it senses danger, bam, it pulls the fire alarm to get our body revved up and ready for action, all in the name of keeping us safe.
And here's the textbook definition. It's that automatic, physiological gut reaction. The one that floods your system with adrenaline and gets you ready to either, well, put up your dukes and fight the danger, or, run for the hills.
But the story has gotten a little more complex over the years. It's not just about fighting or fleeing anymore. Turns out, our brains have a few other tricks up their sleeves, like freezing in place to avoid being seen, or even fawning, which is where you try to appease the threat to calm it down.
Okay, but this is where that simple story really starts to fall apart. See, scientists make a really, really important distinction between two feelings that we tend to mash together all the time: fear and anxiety.
And this, right here, just nails the difference. Fear is immediate. It's concrete. There's a bear standing right there in front of you. That's fear. But anxiety? Oh, that's all about the future. It's the what-ifs. It's your brain spinning its wheels about a threat that's uncertain, ambiguous, maybe not even real.
And look, this isn't just about playing with words. We have actual hard biological evidence from drug studies that proves these are two totally separate systems wired into our brains.
Okay, so get this. When scientists look at anti-anxiety medications, they find that what these drugs really do is turn down the volume on the brain's reaction to uncertainty. But here's the kicker. They barely touch our reaction to a clear and present danger. I mean, that's a huge clue that our brain handles the murky future of anxiety very differently than the crystal clear danger of fear.
So how does this old school model say this all works inside our heads? Well, it paints a picture of our brain as a pretty simple, reactive machine.
The classic story goes something like this, right? Step 1, you see a snake. Step 2, your amygdala, which is kind of like the brain's smoke detector, just goes ballistic. It zaps a distress signal to the hypothalamus, the command center, and boom, your body is flooded with stress hormones. It's just a straight line. A causes B causes C. Super simple.
Now, this whole way of thinking comes from this really popular but, well, scientifically wrong idea called the triune brain. You've heard of it, the lizard brain? The idea that deep down we have this ancient primal brain running the show for survival. It sounds cool, but it's just not how our brains actually work.
And that brings us to the news story. And honestly, it's way cooler and so much more powerful. Your brain isn't just sitting around waiting to react to things. Oh no, it's doing something much, much more amazing.
Yeah, check out this quote from neuroscientist Lisa Feldman Barrett. It completely turns everything we thought we knew on its head. Let me say it again. Your brain doesn't react to the world, it predicts. It's constantly guessing what's going to happen next.
So let's just put these two ideas side by side. The old view, totally passive. Something happens, then your brain reacts. But this new, predictive view, it's active. Your brain is a fortune teller, running nonstop simulations of the immediate future and getting your body ready for what's coming before it even happens.
So, if we look at it this way, fight or flight isn't some simple knee-jerk reaction. No, it's your brain making a huge all-in bet. It's predicting with like 99% certainty that you're going to need a massive dump of energy right now to deal with what it thinks is about to go down.
And this idea, this predictive model, it is the absolute perfect explanation for why anxiety, that constant state of dealing with uncertainty, feels so incredibly draining, why it just wipes you out.
We can even come up with a whole new definition for stress here. Stress is just your brain acting like your body's CFO. It's anticipating a big expense, a big withdrawal from your energy bank account, and it's making sure the funds are available ahead of time. It's just proactive resource management.
And this is the key. This is the whole thing right here. Uncertainty is just plain expensive for your body. I'm talking metabolically, biologically, it costs a ton of energy. And here's why.
When the future is uncertain, your brain can't just make one prediction and call it a day. It has to run multiple simulations at once. What if this happens? Or what if that happens? And keeping all those action plans running at the same time, it's like having 100 apps open on your phone. It absolutely destroys the battery. So that feeling of agitation, worry, and exhaustion, that's not a bug. It's not a malfunction. That is the feeling of your brain's processor running at 100%.
This is exactly why anxiety is not all in your head. That feeling of being completely wiped out mentally and physically, that is a real biological phenomenon. It's the price your body pays for your brain doing one of the hardest jobs imaginable, trying to predict an unpredictable future.
Which, of course, leaves us with one last big question. If anxiety is really the feeling of our predictive brain working itself into the ground, well, that changes everything, doesn't it? The goal isn't to fix a broken alarm system. Maybe, just maybe, the goal is to figure out how we can give that incredibly hard-working prediction machine a much-needed day off.